The Communist Party uses the fact that Jesus didn't command his disciples to oppose the Roman government to argue that underground Christians in China can't oppose the Communist Party. If this logic were valid, the United States wouldn't exist today. American institutions like independence, the Constitution, and religious freedom are strongly underpinned by Christians' conviction to resist unjust regimes. The Puritans, 1620, risked their lives crossing the Atlantic rather than submit to unjust religious policies driven by oppression from the Church of England that prevented them from worshiping freely. During the American Revolutionary War, 1775-1783, many pastors publicly opposed the British royal family's unjust taxation and oppression from the pulpits. These pastors became known as the Black-Robed Regiment. The Declaration of Independence's tenor is almost an Old Testament-style prophetic declaration against injustice. Human rights come from the Creator, not the king. When a regime destroys these rights, the people have the right to overthrow it. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees freedom of speech and religion, essentially prevents any government from controlling faith as the Church of England or the Roman Empire did. In other words, if Christians had truly listened to the logic of Jesus didn't oppose Rome, so we can't oppose the king, the United States today would likely still be a British colony, with the Anglican Church still controlling the pulpit. This kind of explanation, using spiritualized obedience to silence people, is precisely the kind of false theology favored by authoritarian regimes throughout history. The Roman Empire used it to oppress the early church. The Middle Ages used it to maintain feudal oppression, and the CCP continues to use it to suppress Chinese house churches today. The Bible's obedience to those in authority always has prerequisites. Acts 5:29 says, "We must obey God rather than men." John the Baptist publicly rebuked King Herod for his sins, Mark 6:18. Daniel prayed to God despite the Babylonian king's decree, Dan Bokris to 6:10. Jesus called Herod a fox, Luke 13:32, and the prophets and apostles spoke out for the oppressed, Proverbs 31:8-9. Therefore Jesus' first coming was to redeem souls, not to establish an earthly political kingdom, John 18:36. Yet he never endorsed the sins of political regimes, rather he exposed them. The New Testament church also continued to preach and gather despite legal prohibitions, Acts 4:19-20. Fearing God is better than fearing man, and opposing evil is better than maintaining the security of silence. This is the core logic of the Bible.